sponsored a business builder in Costa Rica. And Natalie, you have to add that, this resort was all Arbonne. So maybe give a few pointers on how you did that. So I asked Natalie if she would share just some fun things from Costa Rica. What was her favorite thing and just anything that was on your heart. So go right ahead, Natalie.
So every trip is just, it really is magical. And my husband, hang on, he's gone now. My husband always says you have to earn these trips because they are just so good. But this trip, it was so fun because like I sat beside people that had only been in the business, new to the business that earned the trip. I was sitting beside people that had been in it for like 4 and 5 years, and this was their first AIT trip that they earned. So it was like, some people thought it was really hard, but some people was like, it's a challenge. And I didn't even hear like when they was talking about the whole trip and how I got earned and stuff like that. People didn't even act like it was hard or it was a challenge. They just focused and they just earned it. And it's so magical. Like I got really emotional. I was like sitting there and I used to be a single mother. And so I didn't know if like something like this trip would ever be possible for me to take my kids to. And so there was families walking around, there was people pregnant, and like to be able to work their business alongside of and then raise their kids and then take them on these trips. And I know my husband he never said he was going to be horseback riding or zip lining, and he did both there. And he was just like, I'm so glad that I did that. So anyways, yeah, just gotta, stay like really integrity, fairness, commitment, so you can sustain just a really successful long-term business because we do need to look at people's needs, not just to try to sell them something. And so it was just really cool to see how many people like earned this trip. I know I would say, oh, I won this trip, and then I think Brenda Hart and some people's like, no, you earned the trip, you didn't win the trip, because it does take it takes time, but whenever you get there, it was so worth going to parties, and it was so worth doing all the things and stuff like that. So the farewell dinner, I actually brought this because it was like, so they would come in, they would clean your room, and then at nighttime they would turn your bed down. And then the monkey was out there playing, and they literally, like, the monkeys like took the door and was like, boop, like tried to get in our room, even though it was absolutely closed. It just wasn't locked, but they was like walk in just like, so like the whole experience. So you went on the beach that night, and it was like seriously something out of the movie because you had lights and it was just so magical, and we was all on the beach. They had a fire show, they had fireworks, and then we come back up to the room, and then they had these, and I was like, so I left it in the box so you could see it, but I was gonna dump this out. And so this was like hand carved thing, and I had been admiring these all week. And like this stuff was, even though we went like off of the resort and stuff like that, so this is they were pricey. So anyways, they had wrote on there on the back, so this was on our bed, but it wasn't just thrown in a box. Like Arbonne, everything they do is so like meticulously so thought and stuff like that. And so it actually says on here, Arbonne, Costa Rica, AIT 2024. And it tells about this and all that stuff. And so it says, we wish you a safe journey home, Arbonne Events. So I don't know. It was just like little things like that, little touches. As soon as you get off of the airplane, your shuttle's waiting for you, and they just totally take care of you every step of the way. And this business truly is a blessing.
I agree, Natalie. That was awesome. And I can just see the excitement all over you, though, and the joy. Tell us, though, really quick about the gal that you sponsored.
So she was she was a yoga instructor, and she was just really amazing. And I wasn't like puking Arbonne all over her like a cheap suit. You know what I mean? We was just interacting. We was having fun. Everybody was approaching her with Arbonne and giving her samples and doing this and doing that until she cracked out that wasn't right. She pulled out a thing of competitors that's not as healthy and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, like, sister, we have to talk. Like, all right, let's just change this out. So I opened my little fanny pack and I'm like, here you go. And so that kind of opened the door, and I wasn't like hounding her because everybody else was really hounding her. And I just let her take her time. And then, she could choose, so yeah, that was, and so she's from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and so she's really fun. She's going on a retreat next week, and she's already ordered. She's already signed up another person, and she's taking her stuff on a retreat.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And you know
So,
what? I love there's a lesson in what Natalie just shared in just how you approached her, because her and I were talking earlier before you guys all got on how it's crazy when you go anywhere because people just kind of like go berserk talking to people, especially if there's folks there that aren't Arbonne. And I love how you approached this. You sat, you listened, you got to know her, and then she chose you because I'm sure she could have chose anybody that was there. And that's a beautiful example of how to be. I love that. Okay, guys. So thank you so much, Natalie, for sharing that. We're going to really quick, as we close out our call for the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to talk about, I mean, we've got generally this time of the year coming up in the next couple of months, we usually launch another trip. Now, I have not got the word on that, so I'm not telling you that that's for sure happening. It's just generally around this time of the year. So in the month of December usually, but I don't want to say that's when it's happening, and Arbonne kind of switches things up. So, but what I did want to, because I want to swing back off of what Natalie shared and just her example and her story of being in Costa Rica, and I'm excited. Thank you for sharing that, because that got me motivated. And you guys, what we're going to be talking about tonight is our ask, and our ask in whatever form it comes, whether we're sending a text, whether we're sending a voice message, whether we're sitting next to someone, whatever that looks like. We're going to just talk about some things briefly about that. This is one of those parachute skill sets. We all, a lot of us read through Dana Collins' book, which is hands down one of my favorites. And I will plug this book until every single one of you has it in your hands and is reading it. It's like 60 pages long. It's $6. It's called The ABCs of MLM, and it is absolutely phenomenal. And it is just basic, your simple introduction to our industry. But I will plug it because he talks about the parachute skill sets as well. And there's a few skill sets that we develop. And what that means by having a parachute skill set is that means like Beth could drop in to anywhere where we can sell Arbonne in the middle of anything, and with these skill sets, build a business. I don't have to have somebody with me locally to make that happen. I don't know if you guys have ever said things like, if so-and-so lived by me, then I would be able to do this. If we only had this, then that would give me the easier way to build a business. And you guys, that's not what it's all about. It's about being able to utilize the things that we have where we're at. And you don't want to wait until you have or know everything there is to know, because you'll never get going. So the goal is just to get going with what we have, what we know, and then developing these skill sets. And honestly, the ask is developed by doing. But really quick, I want to segue into this real fast. And I want some interaction, you guys. So I want you to light up the chat. How many of you have completed the 30 Days to Healthy Living program? If you've done it for 30 days, I want you in the chat to say 30. If you've done it for 60 days in a row, I want you to say 60. If you've done it for 90 days in a row, I want you to say 90. So I want to see how many of you have completed and executed 30 Days to Healthy Living, whether you want it for 30 days, 60, or 90. I'm sure how many of you have done a 30-day multiple times? Like, I think most of us have completed. I have done the 30 days for the longest I've ever stayed on it was for 4 months. And that saved my gallbladder. Yay. But that's a whole nother story. So all of us have stuck to this program, right? And so what I want to hear from you guys next in the chat section is, how did you stick to it? Like, what got you to stick to the 30-day program? Like, obviously you had a goal, right? What else? I want you guys to chat. Like, what helped you stick to the program? Because we know that the 30 Days to Healthy Living program is hard, right? It takes discipline. But what are some of the things you implemented? Maybe you were part of an accountability group and you want to, I know what I like to do is I like to be accountable with clients, and I like to text them at the end of the day that says, I didn't cheat. I will never forget. I was driving home from a car presentation in San Francisco, And I mean, I did not want to text my client that I cheated, but everybody wanted to stop at Five Guys. And I sat there at Five Guys while everybody ate burgers and fries and I drank a protein shake. But by golly, I got to text that gal that I did not cheat. So, what are some other things that you did that daily do to make sure that you implement and stick to the 30-day program? So, you had a goal. A lot of us, our health depends upon it. Just like I mentioned, I got to save my gallbladder and I was doing other things too, but my health at that moment depended upon me sticking to this in a major way. So maybe your health like forced you, like maybe you had like a doctor's appointment that was a wake up call and you're like, that's it. It's done. I'm sticking to this. One of the other things I know we're seeing a lot in the chat is one of the questions I like to ask myself if I see cake in front of me, is that cake going to get me anywhere near my health goals or my weight loss goals? What the heck no, right? So sometimes we have to ask ourselves that question. I talked about accountability. I know there's a lot of things in this chat about this. So guys, if you haven't yet stuck to the 30-day, there's a whole lot of pointers in the chat that you can use. But you might be wondering, Beth, how does this have anything to do with the ask? And I'm sure some of you kind of get where I'm going, because guess what? Building an Arbonne business and moving forward in our Arbonne business is no different. If you have completed the 30 Days to Healthy Living program, you have done what most people are not willing to do. There is a reason when they say, you know, it's the national vice president is 1% of the people get to national vice president. It's not because it's only 1% of the population. It has a lot to do with what people are willing to do and not do. I would love to see what the statistics are for someone who completes a program like 30 Days to Healthy Living in 30 days with no cheating. That's incredible. Like, that's something to celebrate. That means that you know how to complete a task. You know how to actually have a goal, set out a daily plan to stick to it, and stick to it. And guess what? Then you can teach other people to do the same thing. But because you already have that skill set and sticking to that program, I want to show you how you can utilize that exact same skill set and get where you need to go in this business. For example, moving it forward to Arbonne is no different with activity. We need a goal, right? So what is your personal goal? You don't have to shout it out. You don't have to type it in, but what's your personal goal? Maybe you haven't written down a goal in a long time. Guys, it's time to get back to being goal-oriented if you haven't done that. What's your personal goal? That would be similar to our weight loss goal, right? If your health depended on you doing the 30-day program and sticking to it, what is saying that you need this business ASAP? The average family needs about $6,000 extra a year right now to manage with inflation. I know what I pay for eggs. I know what I pay for everything. And anytime I check out at the grocery store and I have a few things and I'm spending $100, my mind always goes to imagine what it would be if I had all four of my kids still in my home. So I know a lot of us are dealing with what inflation is doing, but guys, we don't have to scale back when we have a business like Arbonne. It's a commissionable business. We can decide how we want to grow our income by month to month, just like we can decide if we want to get healthier from the month to month as well. So what is telling you right now that you need this now? We have Christmas coming up pretty darn quick, guys. It's coming up. Like, it's not, we're knocking on Christmas door. My HOA just told me I can't put Christmas decorations up until like November 20th. And I know some of you, that would probably give a heart attack because some people like to put your Christmas decorations up on November 1st. But it's coming up fast. So what is telling you need this ASAP? And guys, the same question we can ask on the 30 days, this piece of cake going to get me closer to my health goals? We can say, is my current activity getting me closer to that goal? Is my current activity or inactivity, whatever it is, like, what do you like to do in a day for Arbonne? And you can ask yourself at the end of the day, is what I'm currently doing getting me closer to the goal that I have in growing my Arbonne business and helping other people? Because I'm going to go on a little soapbox right now, because I am seeing things happen in our world today. And I'm not talking about an election year, but I'm seeing things happen where, guess what? People are talking about how bad processed foods are. People are talking about how we need to eliminate these foods and how we need to take better care of ourselves. People are throwing statistics out there about the health crisis in America. And guess what? There's a whole lot of people who are waking up right now to this, and they're like, what do I do? I don't know how to do it. How do I make changes? in walks an Arbonne consultant who has completed a 30 days to healthy living. And if you haven't done it yet, I suggest that today you decide, I'm starting the 30 days to healthy living program next Monday. You don't have to wait till Monday, but it gives you some time, and then make it a goal to have 10 friends that join you on that journey. Now, I'm saying that's for somebody who's never done it, but that's also for those of us who have done it. It is an easy way to segue and invite people and ask when we're willing and committed to doing that ourselves. So is my current activity getting me towards closer to that goal? And the last thing, like I said, on the 30 days is, do you have accountability? Do you have someone that can hold you accountable? And guys, don't pick the person in your life that you like are okay saying, I don't care what you say. Find someone that really matters, like that you really care about disappointing. And I don't want you to be a people pleaser, but what I mean is, like, who do you know in your life that's gonna hold you to the fire? If you said, hey, I need to focus on having 10 conversations with people about products this week, and 3 conversations about the business, whatever you want to do, and you ask somebody to hold you accountable. So will you text me on Friday night and say, hey, did you get your write out that goal? Did you get that done? More importantly, guys, it's more important to have someone that you have those kind of goals with every day, because the daily text is powerful. The daily text is powerful. It could be just, hey, let's get together and let's send each other a text that we did our daily method for success, or the asks that we wanted to do on that day, every single day. And guys, I dare you, we have 2.5 weeks left in October. And if you really want to see, if you want to roll into and have the same kind of experience that Natalie just talked about on a trip, and let's say our run does kick off a trip on December 1st, you know how we have a great December? By finishing October well, killing it in November, and that rolls over into December. So it's not, you could start on December 1st and have a great December, but I'll tell you the quicker way and the easier way to segue into that, since we're already consultants, is to get going today. And so what I would challenge all of us to do is we implement this ask, is to look at the rest of October. Now, I'm a calendar type of gal. Like, I like to see paper calendar. And what I like to do is I like to take my rest of my October, and I like to cross out the times that are just non-negotiable for me. And then, guys, what I want to challenge you to do is I want you to highlight the available time slots that you have left in the month of October. And this could be for lots of different forms of activity. But I want you to think about what's going to give me the big, I have like an itch right here, what's going to give me the biggest bang as I'm working towards the goals that I have. What kind of activity do I need to get me towards that goal? What do I need to do to stir things up, to get my rocket ship off the ground? If you're like, I want to like create some crazy momentum, then guys, don't go for having one conversation a week. Go for having several conversations. I would be like, think about all the people who loved, Terry Wilson talked about this last week on our call, talking about holiday. Some of the easiest people to, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but people who are easier to ask to have a few friends over their house are the folks that love to decorate. Lots of, like, my neighborhood is decked out with Halloween, and soon it's going to be decked out with Thanksgiving, and then it's going to be decked out with Christmas. People who love to decorate their house love to entertain, and it can be something simple and sweet, but those can be the starters that you go for. So this is how we do it, is figuring out, like I said, like implementing the same things that you did to build and become successful in the 30-day program, is cross that over. And if you have to put 2 columns and you put that 30-day and you put the things that you did, and then, right, okay, this is what I can do, the same things that I can do in my business, what that looks like, guys, then do it. Like, anything that we can do to help us simplify what we want to do in this business is going to move mountains. And I will tell you, when you think of, like, depending on where you feel like you're at, like maybe you're sitting at the foot of Mount Everest and you feel like your business, to grow your business, looks like the tallest mountain in the world. Quick, I think that the one volcano, though, in Hawaii is taller. It's just bigger underneath the water. Fun fact. But Mount Everest, you're sitting in front of Mount Everest. Now, if we sit and stare at a big mountain and we think, Beth, it doesn't matter. I don't know how I could get the activity. I don't know how I could climb to get over this mountain. That is not going to get us anywhere, right? Because we're never going to go. We have to start with one step. We have to start with what we have. It might be getting our climbing gear on and finding a partner that's going to climb with us. We have to start where we at. And it's just by finding one more person, because you want to have a team that helps you climb, right? We want to have a team of hosts. We want to have a team of clients. We want to have a team of business builders that goes on that journey. We want to invite new people on that climb with us, right? Because it's not about how we can climb. It's about who can help us climb. And that's how we do it, guys, is one step at a time. I have this preferred client who loves fizz. Oh my gosh, guess what? It is get your box, your favorite box of fizz for free month from me when you get a few friends over your house after work. When people, this is one of the quickest and easiest ways to get a group activity is when I'm talking to somebody about the 30-day. I just did this the other day. I'm talking to somebody about the 30-day and talking about their friends that might be interested. I'm like, here's the thing. Like, let me come by. Let me swing by your house next week. I'm going to bring the protein. I'm going to bring the fizz. I'm going to bring all the things. And that way your friends can sample. You can sample. We'll sit around the kitchen island and talk about it. And any questions that they have, instead of them having to go through you to me, which I know would be really frustrating for you to have to do that, they can just directly ask me questions. You guys, I have had lots of people say, you would do that for me. So sometimes I think we just have to break down what we think are barriers to somebody having a few friends over. And other thing is too, like, I like to meet people where they're at. Like, I've had events where I just meet, if I have a school teacher, I meet them at the school right afterwards. Like, we meet in the teacher's lounge, like meet people where they at so they can be simple. But guys, this is the time of the year when we want to get those referrals going. And the quickest way to get referrals is when somebody has a few friends over, or they have a few friends at a coffee shop, a few more friends to sit around and learn about our great products and our business. And what happens is that person then has just now referred you to 3 to 5 people, versus if we're just focusing on just getting the one-on-one, that might turn into a few more. So this is just a quicker way to get your rocket ship off the ground right now, this time of the year. So guys, one of the things I want to do as I close this app is I just want to remind you of all the different types of asks we have. The first ask we have is about the business. And like I said earlier, we have lots of people out there that are looking for the opportunity to build a business. You know, I was just reading about I forget where I read it, that millennials, it might have been in this one book, millennials and the generation after are very much into side gigs, very much into doing something extra on the side. And so why not offer what we have? So we're not asking people to sign up when we invite people to look at Arbonne. We're just saying, would you like to take a look? And that's what I would challenge all of us to do. Is you sit down this week, how many people do you want to invite to take a look at the business? If you're wanting to grow and you feel like your why is saying we need this ASAP, I would challenge you to ask one person a day to take a look. Again, guys, we're not asking people to sign up. We're just saying, would you like to take a look at what I'm doing? I feel like it might be a fit for you. And even if it's not, that's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Because what happens is when I've had meetings this month with people who weren't interested, but they're turning into a host for me, because then I say, hey, would you be willing to at least do me a favor, have some friends over? Absolutely, Beth, I would totally do that. So that ask is the first one. It's just simple, just like Natalie shared when she saw that spark come out. I think that's the brand. And she's like, oh, okay, that's it. Let's get the right healthy energy in her hands. And she took that opportunity, but she sat and she listened. So it's going to be lots of people that we're going to hear things. You guys, I think sometimes we want people to get to this place where they say, I need Arbonne, I need Arbonne, I need Arbonne. That's not the case. I mean, there were at least 7 to 8 touches between me and Carlita between December 3rd and January 5th when I joined Arbonne. And it wasn't like right up front I said, yes, sign me up, I need to join this. No, there were multiple touches that she was having with me throughout the month. So just remember, like, if this is where you need to go, remember that's where we want to have those goals, because we're trying to get that rocket ship off the ground. The next ask is if you're looking for someone who gets you in front of a few people at a time. I already shared some of the things and some of the verbiage that I use. Also, some of the verbiage that I'm currently using because I'm in a new location is, hey, I really need some help meeting some new people. That's verbiage that I'm using as well. It could be lots of different things. Guys, if you're trying a new kind of way to share, I need help figuring this new presentation out. Would you be willing to have a few friends over so that instead of me staring in front of the mirror and practicing, I could practice in front of real life people? And if you're new, you're really just this is your opportunity to practice. So people are just, this is a way people can help us without spending a dime. They're really just opening the doorway for us to meet new people. And then of course, it's always, there's that ask for inviting people to take a look at the products. Terry Wilson gave us some incredible information last week on how to set things up for the holiday products. If you weren't on that call, look for the recording. It was awesome. And then the week before that, we talked about how to find people. If you're like, I'm stuck, I don't know enough people. Guys, I just started playing pickleball and I'm addicted. Okay. So any of you guys out there who play pickleball, we're going to, have a retreat in the near future, and we'll definitely do a tournament because I'm hooked. And I actually went and played with my son and his really good friends. And one of his friends is like a pickleball pro. This guy's like 23 years old and he's super good. And I'm watching him going, oh my gosh. But you know what I did? I asked him if he would serve to me. And he goes, absolutely. And I sat there for the first 5 serves. I don't remember even seeing the ball go by me. It went by so fast. I'm all, did that really just happen? Oh my gosh. Like it was so fast. But you know what? After about 5 or 7 more serves, I started clipping the ball. I started getting it. And then I was able to hit it back to him a few times. But I mean, he's fast. But guys, if I didn't step into the court, and these are with a bunch of young guys, like I was going to look really stupid, but I didn't care because you know what? I've always been taught that if you want to get better at something, you play with the people who are better than you. Congratulations to those of you guys that are on this call to get better and to be around people that are better than us so that we can grow. If you're the best at what you do in the room, it's going to be really hard to grow. And so that's like today I'm at this beginner class, but I played with the people who were the teachers because I'm like, if I play with them, I'm going to get better quicker. And so that's the same thing I do with my Arbonne business. I always want to be staying around people who are going to hold me accountable to growing and expanding my roots and expanding the reach that I have. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I just want to point out we have 2.5 weeks, like I said, until November 1st. And we really just, a couple of handfuls or 3 handfuls of weeks before the end of the year. So much can happen. I want to just invite all of you to join me on that ask and focus on just doing the ask. And if you get I want to really point this out. If you get like a ton of no's or you get a ton of like ghosting, I want you to then reach out to your national vice president or your regional vice president and say, I got like 5 no's in a row or 6 no's in a row, whatever. And then for your regional or national vice president, then I want you to pretend like you're inviting them, whether it's to ask for the business, products, or a party, whatever it is. I want you to pretend like they're one of those people because the only way I know how to help somebody get better is if I hear that. And guys, that strategy has helped me help so many people because if I have somebody who's constantly sending out something, they're not getting any traction. We want to figure out what's wrong. And I just love when people are willing to do that. If you haven't been willing to do that because you're scared what your upline is going to say, guys, we all love you. We all want to help you grow. So don't be scared to ask. Don't be scared to ask for help if you feel like you're not getting anywhere. Let us help you get over the hump. Let us help you get and grow your belief in that because it is important that we ask to grow. You're going to develop that skill set. That's the only way we develop a parachute skill set. It's like we're never going to learn how to jump out of an airplane on the ground, right? We have to get into the airplane. And one of these days I'm going to do that too. But we have to get into the airplane to make it happen. So I hope this helped you guys. We are right smack dab in the middle of October. So much time to make it happen. But I thank you guys for being on and I will see you guys next week. If anybody has any questions or comments, I have a few